Now, the hour of choice for the new U.S. administration is to at least open a dialogue. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the gesture has been there, and perhaps it's throwing the ball back into the Iranian side court.
So it's a good thing that President Obama has...
I've never objected to an attempt to try to solve the problem by dialogue. But the truth is that this regime cannot possibly have a dialogue. And let me tell you why. Because if you really understand the nature of this regime, if you really understand its raison d'etre, if you really understand what its objective was from day one, their ideological ultimate commitment is to create a sort of modern-day Islamic Shiite caliphate of modern days in the region, and for them to be its guide. They want to revolutionize the world and rewrite history as they see it, and for them, their chances of survival and success depends on destroying that very Western world, which is their complete
So dialogue with Iran is a nice gesture, but really is fruitless. It'll be useless eventually.
Well, look at the headlines. Let's not go too far. The response from Iran has already been generated. The gesture was made. The answer was not launching a dove of peace in the air, but a ballistic missile. How else do you want to
again, I come back to the question of earlier. The Israelis are going to the polls this Tuesday, obsessed with the threat of a nuclear Iran. Preventive medicine for them, we know what that means.
Well, and let's not get trigger happy once again. I can understand the concern, which is legitimate, not just from the Israeli standpoint, but for that matter, the whole Western community standpoint, as witnessed recently in the security conference in Munich. But the point is precisely that. If you know that diplomacy is not going to get very far, at least we have yet to see an indication that it could ever really get to a point that would be satisfactory. And if indeed we want to avoid any kind of scenario of confrontation, then there has to be another attempt made as some other way. And this is the way that I propose. Let's invest for a change on a pressure that can be brought from within, which means empowering the Iranian people. They could bring about that change, which is would be of mutual interest, not only to Iranians, because they get their freedom, and to the world.
Because we're running out of time.
Yes,
there are elections, and there's going to be a fight between the conservatives, led by the outgoing Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, and so-called reformers. Just in a word, there is a debate, there is a dialogue going on, at least within that electoral time frame, within Iran.
We have seen that good cop, bad cop technique used by the regime once again for purposes of, in this case, much more for external consumption than domestic. What was
so you don't believe
before?
In these elections?
I never believed in that. The problem has never been the radical versus the moderate. It's been the regime against the people. That's really where the line of demarcation has been and should be considered.
Reza Pahlavi, thank you for joining us. And
Thanks
thank you for being with us here on the France 24 interview.